Hi guys, I'm back again today with another video, and today we're checking out another video of France. So affordable living in France, and their home cost $200,000. Okay. I'm trying to do the math in my head to convert. But anyways, before we start, don't forget to subscribe, click the bell button, and let's see.
What's going on? Why don't the French like us? Why don't the French like Americans? And he was really taken aback, and now I feel very silly having asked that question. Couldn't believe that people were living this lifestyle. No one seemed to be really in a rush. I don't make a lot of money, and I am living very, very well in the south of France. Bonjour everyone, I'm Tula Rampont and I am the France correspondent for International Living, and we're here in my backyard in the south of France, and I'm going to tell you all about why I moved to this beautiful country and what I love about living here. I have been living in the south of France since 2010. We are just outside the larger city of Toulon, which is considered the French Riviera between Marseille and Nice. This is the southeastern portion of the country, which is classically known in the hearts and minds of all who love it as the south of France, or Provence. First of all, it's just incredibly beautiful. That's why we chose this area. Secondly, it reminds me a lot of Southern California because people are out all the time. Things are happening, the cafes are bustling, you go to the seaside, there's beautiful, beautiful Provençal hilltop villages. It's a very dynamic area. Of course, the weather is a plus. One thing that really surprised me that I didn't expect to love is that there are 4 distinct seasons here. So we do get enough rain, and I do have 4 separate wardrobes, sets of clothing, which I never had in Southern California. So things are green, it's lush, it's beautiful. We have the vineyards. It's just a very, very pretty place to live. So that's why we chose the south, and we live 10 minutes away from Toulon. We lived in Toulon for about 7 years in 2 different apartments, one we rented and another one we purchased. And we are now in a village because we wanted a house with a little bit of a garden. So the name of our village, it's quite funny. It's called Oulioul, which comes from the French word olive, which means olive. So our village is full of olive orchards, olive trees, and there is even a local mill you can take your olive harvest to have it pressed for olive oil. So all the romantic, wonderful things you can think about of living in the south of France in the area known as Provence. So we'll go ahead and go through also why I chose this country in the first place, and specifically why I continue to love living here. First of all, I'm from Ventura, California, and one of the things that really shaped me in my life was I was a first-generation college student. So of course I had a lot of help and assistance along the way, but financially I kind of did it all on my own. And I was coming up on my 30th birthday and I had never really traveled. So I decided now is the time, and I took a trip around Europe, and we went to Italy and Switzerland and France. Couldn't believe that people were living this lifestyle. No one seemed to be really in a rush. Of course, there were people working, but the real priority was on spending time with friends and family, and you could just feel the slower pace of life, and I felt like just a weight being lifted off me. I didn't really realize how busy and how hectic my life was in Southern California, and it really opened my eyes. I loved France. I thought it was beautiful, but I really felt like I couldn't, for one, I didn't speak French. I feel like I had a hard time accessing what was going on with the culture. People seemed standoffish, to be completely honest. I had different experiences. I stayed for a week on my own in Paris, and nobody really talked to me. I felt lonely. And then later on, I thought it was a big city, but still, I don't know. I guess I expected more at the time, but I had a really wonderful experience in a restaurant recommended by one of my guidebooks, where the owner actually spoke English, and I went on my own as a single lady, and he spent time to explain the menu to me and just ask me where I was from, what I was doing. And that was really impressive because not only did I have one of the best meals of my entire life, it was the first time I felt like a French person had been really friendly to me, but I had really not the best impression, to be honest, of France. And I think a lot of the stereotypes we all carry around about them being snobby, like bordering on rude, and it seemed really chic and inaccessible. So I had crossed France off the list at that time. As life goes, I met a French guy, and first thing I asked him, and I'm very embarrassed to say, is I asked him, well, what's going on? Why don't the French like us? Why don't the French like Americans? And he was really taken aback, and now I feel very silly having asked that question. And he said, actually, we love you. We love your culture. We watch your TV series. We always think you're 10 years ahead of where we are in business. And my cousin lives in San Antonio right now, and I visited, and I love just going out for a hamburger, and I was just couldn't believe it. So we just talked about what we were going to do, and I mentioned going back to Southern California, and the more I learned about French culture and things he was telling me, I especially got sold on the 5 weeks of vacation, the healthcare system, just the style of life. I had my impressions of French people. I also thought it would be fabulously expensive, but absolutely completely surprised. First of all, I learned
Well,
that
wait,
France is
5 weeks vacation. So can you split it up? I think you can, right? Split it up into however you want to. It would be nice to just like have in the middle of the year and at the end of the year, like 2.5 weeks and then 2.5 weeks again. That'll be really, really good. When we say vacation, does that not include like public holidays? So you have like 5 weeks of holiday, I mean vacation, and then you will have like your public holidays like Christmas and what else do you have, right? So does that add on to those, or let me know in the comments.
not all about Paris. We moved to Toulon, and we lived there for about 7 years. The first year was challenging because I didn't speak any French. I didn't want to learn it. I was against it. I thought I'm just going to slide in there and try to do my English. I got some grammar books from back home, the bookstore in Ventura, and I studied my grammar, and that's all I really did, and my language skills just took off. People were incredibly nice. They thought you're making at least an effort, even at the market, to say like bonjour and how are you, and talking in the cafe. I went to the same place every day, and little by little my language skills just really took off, and people were extremely helpful and always complimenting me on trying to speak English, and I made friends really easily. It was a complete shock. I found out that the French people are just very reserved. It takes time to get to know them, but once you're in, you're in. So it did take me a good year to make French friends. Something pretty amazing that happened that enabled me to go to Europe in the first place was I got a second passport, and I was born in Southern California, but my father is from Finland, and by some stroke of luck I was able to get a second passport through Heritage. So that was the best $500 I ever spent at the Finnish consulate in Los Angeles. So if anybody has an opportunity to get a second passport, I say go for it. Quickly, for the visa process, great news, it is not difficult to get a visa in France. About 95% of people are going to come over on the long stay visa. The long stay visa is the equivalent of a retirement visa. There's no designated golden visa or retirement visa in France, so you just need to be making French minimum wage, which I think current figures are about, for a single person, I think it's about $1,300, it could be a little bit more, $1,400 a month, dollars, and that is just the French minimum wage. So the site to look at is france-visas.com, and you just have to have 3 months of accommodation when you're applying for the visa. You don't have to have a lease, or you don't have to buy a property. What you do is go to the France-Visas website, you fill out the application, it's processed at a third-party processing center, and you have to do this in your home country, so like US or Canada. and then you go for an in-person appointment at the processing center, which is VFS. They forward it to the consulate. The turnaround time is about 2 weeks, so it has been streamlined back in the days when you had to go down to the consulate. So the long stay visa is the one you're going to come over on. That's good for 12 months. It renews around the 12-month period, and then you renew for 4 more years, 5 years total in France. You can apply for 10-year residence card or citizenship. So we're going to move on, and we're going to talk about why I found France such an attractive destination to move to. This is Bandol, beautiful south of France, about a 10-minute drive from where we live, and a pretty great example of why I was attracted to the country. So even in the first year, I got to travel around a lot and discover all of the beautiful natural landscapes. So from vineyards of Burgundy and Bordeaux, the Chateau of the Loire Valley, gorgeous Dordogne. You have the Spanish influences down in Toulouse, the half-timbered fairy tale homes in places like Alsace along the German border. There are a lifetime of very incredibly beautiful places to discover in France. And of course, we have all of our European friends to pop on over. The high-speed TGV train makes it easily accessible to go to Spain or Italy. And also there's low-cost flights. So I thought that while I'm in France and while I have all this diversity of landscape and culture, I can also have the opportunity to visit all of these other amazing European countries, our neighbors just a few hours away. So besides the very attractive landscapes and the ease of traveling around the country, I absolutely fell in love with the lifestyle. I remember that the first lunch we went to in Aix-en-Provence, it lasted 4 hours. It was a Sunday. We arrived, we had an aperitif, and then we had 3 different courses, and I believe, I can't remember the order, there's a salad course and a cheese course, and then we had desserts, maybe it's 5 or 6 courses in the end, and then after we had what they call in Italian the digestivo, the little after dinner drink or after lunch drink, and then we went and we sat around and we played board games, and it was just so sweet and nice, and no one is in a hurry. So that really was the catalyst. We eat so well here, and it's not expensive is another thing, and I know inflation has gone up, you know, especially incredibly in the United States, but going out, I kid you not, you still can get a 3-course meal for lunch. Dinner will be a bit more expensive for $36, and it's a gourmet meal. I go to a lunch little restaurant right where I work. I manage an English language school in Toulon, and I can't believe the quality. So there is a lot of competition, so that helps keep prices down, but food is a big factor, and just the lifestyle and be able to take it easy and not have to run around and really focus on friends and family and spending quality time together. The other thing that really sealed the deal was the health care. Again, I've been here since 2010. It's still hard to wrap my head around the health care. I didn't access it, I swear, for years because I'm just not used to going to the doctor, even though I had a decent insurance in California. It just wasn't a thing that I did. But healthcare is incredibly cheap. So you are 70 to 80% reimbursed on already very low cost visits. To a visit to the doctor is €25. So when you get the 70% back, you're at $9 a visit. Specialist visits are about $16, $17. There's no age restrictions, pre-existing condition limitations. You don't have to join a network. I had a really serious problem with my ankle, and I went to see the top specialists in the country, and all I did is go to a website that allows you to make appointments. It's called Doctolib, and I found his calendar. I had to wait a couple months. Normally you don't, but he's one of the top specialists in the country, and he's in Marseille, so it's about a 45-minute drive away. But I'm like, I found a top guy, I'm going, and I've done that quite often, is just researching who's the best around and go see them. And I just put my information in, and I got to on his calendar, and I waited, and I got everything top notch, high quality. Another really important thing to mention is that, which is another really incredible fact, if you have a long-term illness, God forbid that you have cancer or Parkinson's, Alzheimer, anything that is going to take months and months of treatment, even longer, you're 100% covered on the system. Very important to mention is that, a little sidebar, French taxes. I know French taxes can be very scary. Good thing is that you don't need to pay French taxes unless you are working in France, which you cannot do on a long stay visa. So if you're coming over as a retiree, I really feel like it is a paradise because France has a tax treaty with the United States, so you cannot be double taxed. So if your
So
Social
you just have
Security
to pay
pages or
home.
anything like that, they can't touch that at all. So people who are paying into the system, like myself, who are working, is coming, the healthcare fees are coming directly out of my paycheck. And just to say that I am even not heavily taxed. I don't make a lot of money, but a decent amount for France, and my tax rate is 7.5%. So people who are getting heavily taxed are people who are quite wealthy and who are working in France. So the tax question, I know it's a scary one. Of course, if you have investments or anything, you should speak to a tax professional, but that is the baseline for the taxes in France. So your healthcare fees are figured from these from what you're earning in France, and if you have any active income to declare, that was what they would base your healthcare annual fees for. So I will tell you, as a ballpark figure, annual fees, if you're coming over as a retiree, you'll pay between $2,300 $2,700 if you even pay that a year. So that's a ballpark figure. You can check with retirees who are living here on Facebook groups like Americans Living a Dream in France if you want to validate that information. So that is a really, really cool thing. Top-up insurance, if you want to just cover that last bit of the 70 or 80%, we are a family of 3, and for private top-up insurance, which would just, similar to what we have in the United States, we pay $100 a month. Another very important thing to mention, which is not the same in other European countries, there is not a private system of healthcare. You can go on the public system. I'm on the public system. I've only done public system. It is completely fine. You can go to a private hospital if you like, but you're getting about the same quality of care. There are no long waiting times, unless of course you're going to have maybe a procedure or something like that. That's quite normal. You're going to wait like 3 or 4 months. I've had emergencies. I've opened up the Doctor Leave little schedule, and I've seen somebody the next day for a dentist, for my ankle problem, if I had the flu. So choose a place where there are a lot of doctors is also important. You don't want to be in a very rural area, but for example, places like the south of France, major cities, that's a very attractive place, often rated as a top system in the world, and it is very, very affordable. This is one of the pretty village streets of our hometown of Ulioul. I'm going to talk next about how France can be surprisingly affordable, and even parts of Provence you can buy village homes for under $120,000. Okay, so cost of living in France, some very exciting and interesting things to tell you about. Of course, you can't live everywhere in France. For example, you can't live on the Champs-Élysées or next to the Eiffel Tower in Paris for $2,800 a month, but there are many locations around the country where you can. So the biggest savings I mentioned already, healthcare. Healthcare is a huge, huge saving. Number 2 is going to be your housing. So currently housing is on average 34% less than the United States. This is according to the site Numbeo, which I check quite frequently to see any price changes. And huge, huge, huge is rent in France. Currently is 49% less than the United States. So this is where your savings are going to come in. Our house, because we're still working and we are putting our retirement hopes and dreams into our home, is more expensive than a lot of people would probably think about purchasing in France. So our house is about 1,500 square feet, and in 2017 we paid $420,000 for it. We're in an amazing location. I'm gonna show some snapshots, little clips of our home, and we are in the town of Ulioul. It's about a 10-minute drive from Toulon. Why I mentioned Toulon is Toulon has really great deals on real estate, and another cool thing is you are on the seaside. So my good American friend from South Carolina, she is currently renting a 2-bedroom apartment. It's about 980 square feet in Toulon. She has a view of the port and the sea, and she is paying about $950 a month. So I think that is pretty incredible.
That is
Again, you're not
so
going to be
good.
in Cannes or Nice or Saint.
Wow, two bedrooms, and then the view is the sea, and it's, let's say it's $1,000. Obviously, you have to pay for other stuff, but let's just, you know, think about it. I mean, you're not gonna get that is good. I mean, that is really, really good. I feel like with that money, you're gonna get something similar here in the Philippines, but not the view. Similar meaning you can get a two-bedroom in the like, let's say in the bougie parts of Manila, but it's not gonna be a nice view. It's gonna be, your view is gonna be the next building or the street or something like, or I don't know.
To pay for that figure, you want to look for some of these off the beaten track places, but they do still exist, and you can also find these places on the International Living website. Another place that I really enjoy is the inland area of Provence called Green Provence. Again, you're not going to find places or village homes near us for under $125,000, but you are going to find them about a 45-minute drive from the seacoast, and this region is called Provence Verte. So you have villages like Cotignac and Lorgue and Carcès, and the nice thing about it too is that there are a lot of expat communities there. So that is really south of France, countryside living. You're one of your cheapest spots in France, which I absolutely love, which I might have moved there first if I haven't come here, is the Dordogne, which is just stunning with the river and the castles. And there is a thriving American expat population there, which wasn't the case even 10 years ago. So a lot of American expats moving to the Dordogne. Our house, the size of it, you can have that kind of property. You might not want to go that big, but just to give you a comparison, you can have that kind of property in the Dordogne for about $270,000. So that's gone up since COVID. So you're about, I know someone who purchased for about $218,000 before pre-COVID, so it has gone up. But there are, and that would be like a 1,500 square feet home with a garden, etc. And there are.
Let's just say $300,000. Okay, let's just, we need extra to USD to PHP. Oh, that's good. That is a good amount. I don't know how many bedrooms, and did she mention how many square meters or square foot or whatever? Um, yeah, that's good. That's a good price. We can do this. We can do this. Who am I talking to? Like all of us go buy a house in the south of France.
Deals like that all around the country. You can definitely go lower than that, but those are some of the examples that I like. Other cost of living, I gotta grab my handy notes here. Groceries, you can expect as a couple to pay $600 to $800 a month. We haven't seen the huge spikes in inflation like the United States. Things have gone up, but I like personally to shop at places like Lidl. So I do a lot of my shopping at Lidl, and then I do have customer cards that give me discounts at places like Carrefour. Public transportation is cheap. For example, the TGV, the high-speed train, which I absolutely love. You can get yourself on the budget version of that, which is called We Go, like yes, yes we go. You can get tickets, train tickets to Paris, the one way, for $17 if you book far enough in advance. So that's really incredible. Bus pass in your city like Toulon, you wouldn't need a car. Places like Nice, you don't need a car. You've got the tramway, bus I mentioned. You can walk most of these cities, and you've got train travel, which we don't do a lot of train travel in the US, but train travel in Europe is fantastic and an easy way to get around. So you can get a bus pass in Toulon for $38 a month. Electricity, last time I checked, it's 26% less than other European countries. So France is quite low. You're about $80 a month for electricity. Not all homes have gas. About a third of the homes have gas in France. Otherwise, they're heating with electricity. Gas will run you about $78 a month. Water is $45 a month, depending on your usage. The cool thing too about cell phones are not our.
Okay, it's more expensive. Obviously, the electricity $80 about she said, is 4,600 pesos. We pay probably either 3,000 pesos. This $80 is 4,600 pesos, and we pay 3,000 monthly. Sometimes it can go less to like 2,500. Okay, let's say that's the lowest in a month. And then the highest would be like 3,000, close to 4,000. So $80. Yeah. It can go high too, depending on what we're using, what we're doing in real life. Raining season is the highest, obviously, because laundry, you have to like, we'll do our laundry and then we use our dryers, and there's so many appliances are being used, and nobody goes out, so everybody's at home. So it could go as high as $80 monthly. So it's kind of like on the more expensive side when it comes to electricity, but it's not bad, right?
About a third of the homes have gas in France. Otherwise, they're heating with electricity. Gas will run you about $78 a month. Water is $45 a month, depending on your usage. The cool thing too about cell phones are not outrageously. The cool thing a month, water is $45 a month, depending on your usage. The cool
I
thing
think
too
ours
about
is
cell
lower.
phones are not
Water.
outrageous.
Yeah,
Outrageously
so low.
priced. Either what we do is we do a bundle, so we do our cable, TV, and it's all one box. It comes to we do our cable TV and our cell phone bundle, and it's $39 a month, and you can get at Netflix, and we've got Amazon, and I have Amazon Prime and all that stuff. So you got all the modern.
39? What are you talking about? Let's do 40. 2000. Why is it so cheap? This is where we spend. This is where we spend a lot, because internet alone is $45 I'm paying monthly. Internet alone. And then cable is separate. My phone is separate. Um, I don't think we have like a bundle of like cable, TV, whatever she said, and phone. We don't have that yet. We just have phone bundles on its own. Like, yeah, if you want that. And then you can do cable, like TV and internet together. It's available. The reason why we do them separately is because when they come in bundles like that, it's usually not the best. Like, for example, if I get my internet and cable in one company, the television is going to be good, but then the internet is going to be suckish. One of the other, like one has to suffer for some reason. They cannot all be great in the bundles that they give here in the Philippines for some reason.
And you can get at Netflix, and we've got Amazon, and I have Amazon Prime and all that stuff. So you got all the modern stuff over here in France as
I want
well.
that.
And that's a quick rundown on the prices and how affordable things are. I don't make a lot of money, and I am living very, very well in the south of France. So I hope you enjoyed this video and also learning more about why I chose beautiful France to live and what I really enjoy about being here. A couple tips if you're thinking of making the move yourself. First of all, make a must-have list. So if climate is involved, if you're thinking city versus village, if transportation is a question for you, you're thinking you don't want to have a car, you would be a place with easy transportation access. Definitely get that list together and then think about, if it is in the budget, doing a scouting trip. The nice thing is that there are a lot of expats in France, and retirees, American retirees, have already made the leap. So you can contact them ahead of time, schedule meetings, go on a coffee date, get that boots on the ground information, and they're gonna give you the good, the bad, and the ugly about where they live, and you can really see, instead of seeing it as a vacation spot, what it's like to live here really for longer term. And then hop on over to the IL website, International Living website, France page, and that really has the A to Z of your checklist of where to start off. Everything from getting the visa documentation together to, if you're moving with pets, to seeking short-term and long-term rentals. So hoping to see you all here in La Belle France very soon. Merci beaucoup and bonne journée. Wishing you a wonderful day from the south of France.
Nice. This is really nice. Like it doesn't look scary, right? It's like everything that she listed and the prices, it doesn't look scary. It gives you that hope of like, okay, yeah, I can do that, right? But I bet if we had the same kind of like comparison to France and let's say US, like let's say California because she's from there, right? You will probably get scared of the prices that she will be mentioning when it's California. But then the France one, like everybody will think, oh, it's France. Like I can't move there. I'll be broke. But it feels like it's doable. It feels like it's doable, right? Like the rent and even the housing and then the bills. But if we were to compare it to California, it would be like, bish, no, no, thank you. Like, I'm good. I'm just gonna stay where I am. But anyways, beautiful peeps, that has been fascinating. Let me know down the comments, right, where you are from and how much you pay for rent if you want to disclose that. And also like water bills, electric bills in general. Like, let me know how much you pay for that. Thank you guys for joining, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.